Hey, it's Acoustic Steve-O, the Crypto Bard, making his way into the Cryptoverse. Join me on my journey, let's have some fun. Now, trying this new streaming app, I think it works. I saw my chat working, and I saw my ability to share my screen, which was cool. It kind of got a little fuzzy for a minute, but I think I might be able to figure that out. But I just want to do something cool. Hi everyone. Hello. How are you? I'm not going to be able to talk a whole lot, or I'm going to do it pretty intermittently because my wife's trying to sleep in the next room, but I think this motor on this jacuzzi hot tub we got might make it to where I can actually do this live stream, so I'm going to try it. We'll see. If she comes in and gets disturbed, then I will have to stop, because you have to respect the people that you love, especially if they're trying to get rest. So let's see if we can do this. Ooh, that's interesting. So, because I was messing around and trying to, draw and stuff like that, I may have got stuck there. Let's see. Interesting. Let's try this. I'm just putting dots on stuff now. Oh, a bunch of dots. Let's try this. I didn't know. There we go. That worked. So now I'm gonna try some other things here. I want to show you something. You see right here where it says that I've got no views on my video labeled Mueller press conference, an excuse for brainwashing, right? No views, none at all. Absolutely no views. It's been up for a day. I mean, that's pretty rare for me. I mean, I don't get a lot of views, but no views? I don't think I have any videos. There's one with one view, but that's because it's private or unlisted, and I sent it to my mom because I did an astrology reading for her, but no views, no views, no views. 2 views. Talking about Alex Jones on Joe Rogan. Only got 2 views on that one. I did a lot on that. I did a lot on that. Didn't get much views. Nobody's that interested, I guess, in that. But, you know, I'm pretty used to low views because I'm pretty certain I'm being shadow banned, even as a small channel. And that's what this is going to be about. But I want to show you something. Again, no views. Then, let's go ahead and look somewhere else, right? Chrome. 6. See that, right? On my actual thing, it says I got 6 views. Now, I'm going to go ahead and let this play a little bit. I'll probably pause it because I just want to make a point. But I'm going to let it load here. Right here, 6 views, right? 6 views, but not on the mobile app. Not on the mobile app. Not on the mobile app. I got no views there, right? Oh yeah, by the way, if you come in my chat, go ahead and chat so I know you're here. But I know it works. I had my son do it earlier. I just did a little test stream. I think I may have found my app. My live streaming app of choice, because I can see the chat. I can navigate around on you know, just different things. You don't see my face, but I think it has another option where that's viable, or I can just find another app when I want to show my face if I can't actually find that on this. But usually there's some kind of option for that. I'll probably just have to noodle around to find it. I'm not going to do that now. But, yeah, connected to the chat, so if you come in here, go ahead and send me out a chat. But I'm going to talk about shadow banning. And we know what's happening. I've seen YouTube creators, the one I'm going to bring up first is the channel We Are Change. Go on We Are Change. One of the most recent videos on there, he talks about his name being used, and him being told that when other people put the name of his channel in their description, or I'm not sure if it was the description or the tags or both, their videos automatically get demonetized, like right off the bat, no matter what content they put up. Just mentioning the name of his channel gets their videos demonetized. And he's not some radical channel. He's just an independent journalist who goes around. He goes to different parts of the earth. He's not aligned with any political party. And he just does independent journalism where he looks into stories that mainstream media does not and will not look into. The most recent one I'm talking about was his video where he goes to Sweden, I believe it is, at the Bilderberg, and he talks to the past CEO of Google, and you know, that's the video if you're looking for the specific one, because he kind of talks a little bit about it, so you can go in there and verify that what I'm saying is true, that he did say that. His name's Luke. I think it's Radowski is his last name. He's really a good guy. He's putting out a lot of good content. Go subscribe to his channel if you want a seemingly unbiased view. I've been watching him for a while, and it's still seemingly unbiased, so it's pretty nice to get that, because it's not every day that you can. And the sad part about it is he's being shadow banned, and so is Steven Crowder. All right, he is politically aligned, I would say, to mostly Republican Party. He calls himself a conservative. I don't want to label him as a Republican, but he definitely seems to be aligned with a lot of the Republican platforms, which I am not. Aligned with most of those platforms. I wouldn't even say most, but a lot of them. I would consider myself, however, to be somewhat of a conservative. I'm pretty much a liberal. Like, I'm an anarchist, so I don't even believe in government, so I guess that's pretty liberal. But at the same time, I do believe in respect and dignity, and so that puts me in the conservative camp for a lot of different things. And people who seem to want to approach their viewpoints in life with a measured common sense approach, rather than a skewed emotional approach that is defined by PC culture, seem to be getting shadow banned and messed with by the powers that be. And that's called taking editorial privilege with your platform. And if that's the case, and they're going to push people out that have certain political views and restrain people from seeing other people with other political views, and I'm not talking about people that are promoting hate. I'm talking about people with a sense of humor who are talking just about natural things that we're no longer able to talk naturally about, then there's a problem. I'm thinking about starting a channel called Pre-1984, even though we're after 1984, and we may not even be pre-1984. We have the thought police. They're getting going, right? In the novel 1984, they're in full swing and they've been around and they're established, but right now, they're pretty much becoming established. And the Thought Police are pretty much us. We're like the birth of the Thought Police, like we do it to ourselves. And then, I guess, in the future, there will actually be a ministry that, FCC, I guess, was back in the day, but they're not even as crazy as we are today with how we do it to ourselves. But what I'm going to talk about is we hear about these bigger channels and their problems with shadow banning because they actually have a voice and an audience because they've been around for a while and they've been able to establish themselves with a good enough footing that people still seek out their content. So the shadow banning, it's effective, but it's not so effective that they are kept from even having a voice. But there are also smaller YouTubers. I'm talking like real small. Like I've got 200 and something subscribers. I think 230 something. And I know we're being shadow banned as well. I know that certain channels are being targeted. There's lots of wonky things that go on with my channel, I'll tell you this much, and there's no reason for it. When I put out a good video that should be funny, should be pretty apparent why it's funny. Like, for instance, I had one about when the Covington kids were being portrayed as racists, and you had the Native American dude all up in the young man's face beating his drum, and this narrative was portrayed in mainstream media for days on end before finally the whole truth and the whole long-form video came out that debunked the fact that these kids were, maybe there were a couple who said some things, but none of them were so outlandish that you would deem any of them racist. Not only that, they had some kids of color that were in their group that were of their school, and everybody seemed to be getting along just great. It just, these extreme activist type, and they come in every race, creed, ethnicity on earth. This one just happened to be an American Indian. Saw his chance and he jumped on it, right? Even if he didn't know what was going to come of it, he sure did make the most out of it after something did come of it, after a camera was put on it. Who knows if he had any foresight into what might have happened with it, but he sure rode that train, and we all know that story, okay? So what I did was I took that video, the long form video, and I found the part where he walked up and he started beating the drum, and took it a little bit long form because I had an idea. I was like, you know what? This is pretty cool because I play the Native American flute, so I can do a parody here without saying a word. So what I did was I put a little screen of me at the side playing my flute over him chanting and beating his drum in this kid's face, and it's just me playing along with the flute, right? And that's the whole thing, and I named it Memes Matter. And I'm telling you, it's a good video. It really is. But it didn't get any play, and it's because I'm shadow banned. And that's not the only instance. There's a lot of good content on my channel. And political content is very popular. And there's a reason why my political content is not getting out. It's because it's too powerful. Because they can see that, and I'm not the only one. I'm not some paranoid conspiracy theory person. I'm telling you, they have the technology to do this. They've developed the technology to do this. This is probably the most secret thing they don't want us to know about, is that it's not these big channels that, that's what we hear all the hubbub about. These big channels that are being shadow banned, that can tell you to go on Patreon or can tell you to join their mug club like Steven Crowder. They've set up their arsenal of back channel ways. Even Alex Jones, InfoWars, is not dead. And yeah, that is a pretty apparent way to see that this stuff is going on. But It goes a lot deeper, folks. It goes to us small folks, too. And it's not just the people that are talking about political things. It's anyone that they think might be capable of eventually talking about political things, that has a bright enough personality that they can spot that, and they can tag that person in their system, and they can keep that person from getting any popularity at all by shadow banning their videos at such a level that it keeps anyone from seeing anything they're doing, okay? And I know this sounds paranoid, but I also know it's true. And you might say, how do you know this? Is there any empirical evidence? Not really, just little things that I've seen here and there. And the biggest one of them all, my intuition, my gut. Because I know it's what I would do if I was them and I had the agenda that they certainly do have. You could see that with the way it plays out with the big channels. Well, do you really think they don't have the technology just to be subversive enough to keep channels from ever becoming big channels now? No, maybe 5 years ago they didn't quite have a handle on it, and that's why we have some of these bigger channels that are able to push through this, thank God. But the smaller ones that just started to talk about some stuff, they will never be allowed. So it's almost like a pointless platform to put yourself on if you've got anything to say. If you're just going to do mindless dribble and never really do anything substantive, and all you're going to do is entertain people at a very, very primitive level that does not provoke the mind to critical thinking at all, you'll probably do well. They'll probably see that you're doing that. They'll keep an eye on you, make sure that that's what you're doing. Make sure you don't have any anomaly content, and they'll let you through. But not something like me. Definitely not something like me. And so, if you really want to do well on YouTube, and you're a newer channel, or even one that's been around for years like me, that just has a small subscription base that wants to actually start doing something on YouTube, know that you're not going to be able to do it. They've totally made it to where you're not going to be able to do it, and I hate to tell you that. So the only reason why I'm on YouTube still right now is that they're a placeholder for video content for free. Like, I can make these videos. They haven't yet stopped that. Maybe they will soon, because I've been having a hard time figuring out how to even get these live streams out with my chat. And they made it to where I could do it for a while, and everyone else, and I think the reason why they did was so that they could see who we are. They could analyze us with AI. If you notice, every video you put up, your words come back at you so fast. Do you think there isn't a AI computer that can't analyze the content of what's coming out of your mouth and make a determination of whether or not you're a threat to what they're trying to brainwash people into being? I'm telling you, there is that AI, and they've employed it, and they're using it. And I really hope, people are haters on Donald Trump, and I don't really hold out a lot of hope that he's going to do much, but I'll tell you what, if he really wanted to do something, he'd let Barr go on this whole thing, hoping that Barr comes back. Barr comes back with some subversive activities of the deep state players, and we're actually able to make some headway on this, then the next step would be for him to go after things like YouTube. So keep that in mind, because I'm telling you, I have a vision of this. I do see it as a possibility, actually. One of the only possibilities of how our human consciousness can evolve past this is that we are able to do something about it, because right now Google's such a behemoth that if we don't stand up to them, they are going to be the thought police. They already are. So is Twitter. Combine it with Facebook, combine it with Instagram. I mean, what other platforms can people go on when they're trying to? And the thing about it is, they got us used to building an audience. They got some of us so used to it that they have followings, that their life